In certain cases, the pressures are the normal work pressure. But because you have zero or low tolerance for pressure, you have not built your capacity to actually handle pressure. Because candidly speaking, there's no work that doesn't have pressure. Let me give an instance. If we listen to, you are into entertainment and all of that. If you listen to Davido or Wizkid or whatever, what you get is pleasure. You just hear all the fine stuff. But if you see what they do in the studio, it will surprise you how a 4-minute track, how many days, weeks, and months it actually took them. There were times when they would almost want to give up. There are times when the producer and the what have you may even want to get into a fight over the stress and all of that. What am I trying to say? There is pressure involved, even in something that seems so entertaining. So first and foremost, you've got to be sure that you have built your capacity to an optimum level to handle pressure. Now, any pressure point that is now beyond the norm is going to be obvious. It's going to be clear. What do you do in that instance? Number one, you must recognize the difference between a problem and a predicament. A problem is what you can do something about. A predicament is what you can do nothing about. Say, for example, at that point in time, there's no other opportunity, existing at that point in time. You're going to have to endure a little more until at least you have another opportunity. That is assuming that you're not the one who is being a chicken as far as handling pressure is concerned, right? Another instance there is to look for the weak point of the employer. Is it pressure from the employer or from the organization?
How do you satisfy the employer?
Yeah, in spite of the whatever now. So now when it comes to, you're dealing with the employer and it's putting so much pressure on you, and you are honestly doing everything, you can, What you do is, she mentioned communication. Sometimes you undermine the place of communication. You don't even know where the person is coming from. You need to probably have a candid talk with them and find out what exactly is the issue, what exactly is going on, why, in spite of, I feel like I'm doing everything I could be doing right, and yet I'm still having, all of this. Then also sometimes some employers are just that way. There are some employers that just want everybody to piece in their pants anytime they're around. That's their natural self. In that case, it's a predicament. And just laugh about it. That is nothing personal to you because that's what they will do to every other person. So in kind of an instance, you don't take it personal. You go on and do what you want to do and let it just, fly over you. But if it is directed at you, you make a move, you engage to try and see. You talk to some other colleagues and see if some of them have experienced that kind of stuff before and what did they do. So if you could borrow 1 or 2 leaves from them, you had, put them into play. When you have reached your absolute maximum wit's end, and there's nothing more, and it's starting to affect you psychologically, it's better to just, you can't please anybody at the expense of your sanity, at the expense of, your own personal life fulfillment. So that's it.
Thank you. So speaking of what did you do to get to where you are, Michael, someone is asking, what mundane things did you do to get to where you are? In, under 1 minute.
Mundane? Let me Google. What does mundane mean again?
Well, I think maybe
Unusual.
Simple things. Just
okay, just like simple things. Work harder than you did yesterday. I work really hard. That's not simple. Okay, simple, hard. Okay, wait. What's mundane thing? Oh yeah, I think a really important thing that I learned to do was to see value in very common situations. I'm going to take an example. So I work with weird people. Creatives can be very weird. You can just be on set and see somebody just chewing paper and getting mad fulfillment. But then in that chewing paper, they're probably thinking of a script or something random. I think an important thing that I learned to do early enough was to realize that in everybody's craziness, there's some value in it. And it's from the littlest things. I've seen, you know how like people have different strengths for different situations. I've seen terrible writers that make amazing actors. I've seen actors that cannot hold lines. Holding lines are important. Like I've seen actors that cannot hold lines give some of the best deliveries of those lines. So I just learned to see value in those seeming weird situations and just like focus on those people's strengths as opposed to just writing them off. I think that will help you.
Thank you for that. I hope that helps. So I think this question is directed to anyone. What really is talent? Does a medical practitioner have a talent, an engineer or a lawyer? Can one say talent is actually how good you do your job? So I don't know if we got the question. So what really is talent?
Okay.
Anyone can
You want to
go.
go first? Okay, so I'm responding because I spoke about talents first. I think, of course, did some reading on talent. There is a zillion definitions. What I think talent really is what comes to you naturally. And that's why I say it's never enough. So my sister is studying pharmacy. From when we were small, we were 4 boys. Oh, sorry. Okay, we are 3 boys and my sister. From when we were small, my sister has always been small mommy, even though she's younger than us. She's always had a heart for caring for people. I don't know where she got it from. Maybe it's from heaven. I don't know. But my sister is the one person that you can say, you can form that you're crying and take her meat. You can, if they give everybody money, if an uncle comes, you can whine her and take her own money. I'm not saying I did it, but you can do it. So she had a heart for caring for people, right? But that's maybe some level of talent, but that's not enough for her to be administering drugs, right? So she wanted to study, she wanted to be a doctor. Then she said she didn't want to be a doctor again, that it was too serious and too hard, and then she went for pharmacy. But then you have to, again, like I said while I spoke, you have to sort of train your talents. But like when you find out that this thing comes to you naturally. So for me, from 3, 4, you know how people say from when I was growing up, it happens for many people. From when you are growing up, you would just if you have kids, you would start to see that, oh, my child is drawn to this thing, like very naturally. Me, I used to be disgusted by rubbish film. Like if I'm watching a film and the acting is just bad, or like till now I can't even watch bad quality of picture. So I just liked it, but I didn't know it could be a career path, you get. So if you find that you're naturally drawn to something, it's most likely where your talent lies, but you also have to do some work into finding it and developing it.
Thank you.
It's
Okay, so the question is, what exactly is talent? Does a medical practitioner have a talent, an engineer or a lawyer? Can one say talent is actually how good you do your job?
Yes. Well, you mentioned medical practitioner. If you ever heard or read about Ben Carson, you would agree that a medical practitioner has talent. He wrote a book titled Gifted Hands. There's something about, there's something about the coordination that is an innate ability. There's a way, we think of talent when it only comes to the arts, music and movies and stuff like that. But that's really not, all there is to it. He mentioned talent is something that you naturally feel that proclivity for. I would add that talent is that thing that you find not so difficult to do excellently well. You're able to shine at it. That's talent. It's not just that you can do it. Anybody can try to sing, and you could sing not bad. But real talent is the one that you have to work, of course. Like you said, talent is never enough. But for every ounce of work you put into it, it just blows. Every ounce of work, it just comes out. Like for instance, the medical line. If you, at least the common knowledge is that if you're going to study medicine, medicine is tough. But some people who study medicine, it's like they're studying CRS. And that's the truth, because somehow they are at home with it. Some people do maths and they're just excellent at it. Like for example, you will notice that a lot of maths teachers, I don't know the kind of institution you went to, but sometimes a lot of people who teach maths or like, they're not good in speaking English. Their communication can be very whack, but they will do any kind of mathematics for you. But when they speak, especially some of them who are from Iluke kind of you know, and all of that. They are brilliant at maths, but they cannot, you know, communicate well. But they will, you know, do excellent well. That's, you know, that's a talent. I would also add this, that most people, the average person has more than one talent. It's very rare to see somebody who has only one, you know. You could have one that stands out. He's a producer. There's a whole lot more that he could do. You may be surprised you bring him here some 2 years from now, and you're not talking about just what he's doing now, and it's 2, 3, 4 other things that have come out, either as an offshoot of what he's presently doing or some other, you know, dimension entirely. So you have quite a number of them. But if you're looking at the one you can translate into profitability, into a career, into a vocation, you look at a lot of factors. You look at practicality. You look at what is available. You look at the opportunities that are, you know, on ground. When you put that, because I'm guessing the person is trying to link it to that end, because talent is nothing if you cannot make something out of it, except if you're looking for a hobby kind of talent. And in which case, when you have chop and belefu, it's easy to, you know, to now do that. But at the start, on the foundational level, you want your talent to produce something for you. Talent is that thing you can do, and you can do excellently well with not too much effort. For every effort you put in, you see very clear, obvious results.
Thank you very much. So our time, you can clap. I hear some people want to clap. Thank you. So our time is up, but I'd like us to take one last question, particularly, maybe because I'm very interested in that kind of question. So this person, in summary, this person is saying that they have volunteered many times, but they're not receiving feedback from the firms that they would like to intern, and they're dreamed. So what should this person do? I understand that a lot of people might have, you know, put into practice all this, the philosophy of you have to volunteer, put yourself out there and all, but it seems like nothing is happening. It seems like they're not making a headway. What do you do? How do you maintain your, you know, your balance even through that process?
Hello? Okay, all right. So I think one thing I would say, and I mentioned that during my talk, was to not max yourself out, right? So there's actually nothing wrong in taking a step back when you feel like you're putting so much out and you're not necessarily getting anything back for it. There's nothing wrong in just taking a step back to say, let me review what's going on here. I have like a follow-up question, because person said you're not getting feedback. So are you volunteering specifically for those organizations, or what would feedback mean?
No, for somewhere else, based on what I see, somewhere else, but they're applying to other organizations. You know that principle of, you know, volunteer, put yourself out there, help wherever you can while you wait for what is yet to come to you. So it's like they're volunteering, putting their effort in something, but where they're, sorry? Yes, the real deal is not happening, and they're tired.
Okay. Yeah, so again, one would be there's nothing wrong in taking a step back to review everything. So if you're not hearing back, do you want to review how you're going through the application process? Are you properly selling yourself in the first place, right? And you can maybe engage with someone just to get feedback and see what exactly is happening that you might not be seeing. I would also say that when you've done that, if you're ready to, you know, go back into all of it again, right? So there's this book, Getting a Job is a Job. Getting a job is actually a job. It's a full-time job, right? And no doubt you will get to that point where it just feels like I'm constantly writing the CVs, I'm constantly, you know, doing cover letters, going through interviews, all of this process, and it just feels like, what's the point in all of this? So something else, and I'll go back to one of the things that Michael had mentioned, which is to see value in everything. Even if you are not getting the job that you want, most likely when you go through process, if you pay attention, you never leave that process the same way you went into it, right? So if you had to write a cover letter applying for job A, B, C, most likely by the time you've written those letters, if you put yourself through it, you would have discovered something about yourself. and you're able to sell yourself better the next time, right? So even if you're not seeing the eventual value that you're after just yet, try to find value in, the little value, the little benefits that's coming from all of that, and use it to encourage yourself to keep going, right? Because again, like I said, getting a job can actually take a toll on you, but I would say there's nothing wrong in just taking a step back to, just pause, right? Breathe, and then review everything and see where can I do better, but also try to find value in even the littlest of things. You would never go through a process if you really put your heart through it and come out the same way. So most likely there's something that you're getting, and nobody can take that from you, right? If you engage with someone and you discover something about yourself, like that's an added benefit for you that nobody can take from you. So look out for the little points of value as well.
You're absolutely right. Yes, please. If we could just read in a few seconds,
Yeah,
because our time
so
is up.
just to add to what she said, I think one other thing is also for you to be quite deliberate, right? I've realized that, I'll use my case as a study. Yeah, case study. Most times we want to eat the big four when we've actually not started with those underneath. You understand? So if you want to intern with a particular big organization, first check, is it a big organization you're trying to intern with? First, have you started internship with those ones underneath so you can gather enough skills to come, or rather to be made available when you're actually at the stage of meeting with the big four? What do I mean? I started off as a documentation officer with a recruitment firm. Side by side, I was wondering what a documentation officer has to do with a recruiter. But lo and behold, was a step, right? I moved from there, I became a recruiter. So what I'm just saying in a nutshell is don't target the big fours that are quote and unquote. I'm not saying limit yourself, but I'm just saying while you're waiting, right, start with those ones you can easily reach out to. Let them start putting you on the right pedestal, right, while you focus on the big four itself. So it helps, basically. And one other thing it will do to you psychologically is it will reduce the level of rejection, which might affect you, right, and your confidence level. But if you reach out to someone, maybe an individual, who has something that you're looking up to, right, he or she is able to develop, you hold you by the hands, develop some certain skills you will need. So by the time you're hitting the market again, trust me, you'll be confident.
Yeah. I was going to... Yes, please, you can.
If I may add this too, sometimes we have to tell ourselves the very hard truth as well. Most times we are so fast to talk about, well, okay, you're waiting, you're trying this and all of that, and what you want is not coming. And we blame everything else. But look at, could there be a minute chance that there's something you're not doing right? Could there be a minute chance that you have not developed certain areas of your skill, of your ability that, some things you're overlooking? Because most times, luck is what happens when preparation meets with opportunity. Usually, we'll find out that there's maybe one or two little missing pieces of the puzzle. And then we're going on, we're doing everything right, but one or, two things. And then they may be minuscule. They may not necessarily be that obvious or apparent, but at the end of the day, they might actually be elongating the wait. So in that process of, you see things are not going your way, what you want is not coming to you, ask yourself the question, have I actually honestly done all that I should be doing? Is there something I'm missing? Is there something I'm not getting right? You might be surprised. Occasionally, you find out that there's actually something you need to correct or some other thing you need to develop, and that will actually put you in a good stead.
Thank you very much. All right, so that's as far as we can go with the question and answer. I know a lot of us have questions, but I hope that our speakers will be available to take some of these questions personally after this session, right? They have that look. Yeah, I hope they will be. But of course, let's not leech on them. Let's respect their presence and let's not take it for granted. Okay, so if you are here for the first time, meaning you probably heard from someone about the career fair, you do not attend the Starhub or Daystar, can you please signify with a wave of hand? And while they do, can we please give them a Starhub welcome? Could you please be on your feet for a moment? Would like to see you. Thank you, thank you. Our ushers are trying to reach you now to just hand you a card. Thank you for coming. Thank you for joining us. We usually would sing, "You are welcome to Starhub." Thank you for coming. Thank you for coming. Once our ushers give you a card, you can have your seat. We just want to get information about you so we can reach out to you and be in touch. And also share with you our newsletter if you would like as well, just so that we can let you know of other programs that we have at the Starhub. Like you already can see, we have power-packed programs for youths, and we're all about empowerment and training for young people. Thank you so much for coming again. So again, once our ushers, I think they've seen you, so you can just have your seat so you don't stand for too long. Thank you very much. Also, yes, so we will be going officially to the exhibition. Exhibitors, thank you so much for your patience. We're ready for you, so you can just, of course, I know you're ready, but we're ready for you now. Again, thank you everyone for joining, and please, can you celebrate the speakers one more time? Thank you very much. We can make our way off stage now. Thank you. Let's keep clapping for them. Thank you very much for coming. All right, so officially, this is the end of the speaking session. So we'll be going straight to the exhibition. So please pay attention to orderliness. You can, please feel free to go to any of the exhibitors. I'm sure they're ready to receive you. Also, bear in mind the job opening that I had announced. So if you know you're qualified, please present your CV at their desk. Thank you again for coming. Okay, so the CV template will be sent to your email. So if you did register online, we'll be sending that to your email. If you also registered physically, as long as you registered, you'll be getting the CV template via email. If you have your card with you, our ushers would like to retrieve that from you. Ushers, can we please go around and retrieve the cards from our guests? Again, thank you for coming, and do enjoy the exhibition.